So in this tutorial we'll actually talk about how the memory is being allocated in Java. So before going into the hardcore programming and learning about the concepts in Java, I think it's absolutely essential to learn about the memory allocations and stuff, because we talk so much about the classes, data members, member functions, variables and stuff. We talk so much about this, and I think it's very important to know how these things are actually represented in memory. By doing that, we get a clear, strong idea, because whenever we type a code, we understand what's actually happening in the background, what's actually happening in the memory. But that I think that's very, that's much better, and it gives us a better scope. So before starting, let me give you the agenda for today's tutorial. For the first half of the tutorial, we'll actually understand what happens in the memory when each line of this code is being executed. So this gives you a more practical understanding, and following that, we'll just run through some slides and understand the characteristics of memory. Okay, so let's start. So generally in Java, there are two kinds of memory: stack memory and the heap memory. Stack and the heap memory. Before understanding the implementation and allocation, let's understand this code first. Okay, so here I'm creating a class called as ABC, and we all know that class is a collection of data members and member functions, and I'm declaring a method called as method1. Within that, I'm defining a method here with the local variable b, and there's method2 with the local variable c, and there's method3. And this method, I'm doing something new here, which is kind of completely new to all of us. We have not yet seen this. So for understanding this, let's go here, and there's another class called as PQR with the local variables m and n. So before understanding this line, let me tell you the task in hand. What I want to do is I want to access these variables m and n from PQR. I want to access these variables m and n, which is available in PQR, from the class ABC. Okay, so clear, right? I want to access these variables m and n, which is available in PQR, from the class ABC. Okay, so to do that, we actually can't access data between the classes. We can't access access the data members and member functions between classes, which is not possible. Just like that, we have to create something called as an object, and that's what I've done here. I'm creating an object. So this is a syntax for creating an object. This is a general syntax. So there is a class name followed by the object name equal to new class name of. So class name is okay, and object name is user defined. You can give any name you want, equal to, and new. So then I told there are two kinds of memory in Java, right? Stack and heap. So whenever you say new is a keyword. This allocates memory in the heap. Okay, heap memory. So and class name followed parenthesis, braces and semicolon. So this actually looks like a method, right? Yeah, because this is the general syntax for method, right? You have a method name followed by braces, semicolon, but this is actually not a method. This happens to be a constructor. So what is a constructor and what are the types of constructor? We'll do that later. So just know it for now. This is a constructor and not a method. Okay, so that's what I've done here. Class name. So the class name, which class name you use? The class from which you want to access the data. So PQR followed by the object name. I'm giving an obj. You can give anything you want, equal to, whenever you say new, a corresponding memory is being allocated in the heap for the data that are available in the PQR. New PQR of. So PQR has these data, right? So the corresponding data memory is being when you say new, memory is being allocated in the heap, and the data that are available in PQR are being stored there. Okay, so this all of that. So now let's understand this. So let's see what happens when each line in this code is being executed. So when the first method, when the control uses the first method, the corresponding memory is being allocated in the stack memory. So in the stack method, a space which is being allocated for method 1, and within that within method 1 I am having a local variable int v, and that is stored here. Similarly for method 2, whenever the control reaches method 2, the corresponding memory is being instantiated method 2 with the local variable present inside it. So this area actually contains all the member functions and data members, the variables and the methods that are available in this. So here I am having just a single variable, so I am storing it there. And there is another method called as method 3. When we read method 3, a corresponding space is being created. And here I'm actually not declaring any variable. I'm actually creating an object. So this is a reference. Okay, this is a reference object. This reference object is stored here, and when you say new, a corresponding memory, a chunk of memory is being allocated in the heap. this memory is being allocated in the heap, okay, and the data in PQR are stored there, okay, the data in PQR are stored there. So with this object I actually access this equal to sign actually helps us to access the data. So with this object I am accessing the values that are available in PQR, okay, that's what I want to do, right? I want to access the data that is available in MNN. I mean that data MNN which is available in class PQR from ABC. So this reference object, with this reference object I'm actually accessing the data MNN, okay, that's what I'm doing. So after the completion of this process, this stack, since we all know stack is follows push and pop operations. So after the execution of this method, after this the job of this method is over, this is being popped out of stack. And after this, when there is no reference object to point to this data, this also naturally goes out. So now there's no link, and there's no method 3, and there's no any heap creation. Following that, then the method 2 is being executed. Once it finishes the execution, this also gets popped out, and finally after the execution of method 1 also gets popped out, okay. This is a general scenario of what actually happens in memory. So now let's go through the slides and understand what I said in a more clear way. So stack memory stores temporary variables created by each functions. Yes, right? Yeah. It stores temporary variables. Integer b. This b is a temporary variable which is only available within this loop. Once this loop exits, this variable cannot be accessed. So it used to store local variables. Then it contains method specific values that are short lived, and it contains reference to the object in the heap memory. Yes, these variables are short lived. Once out of the loop you cannot access them, and we also store reference object in stack. This obj is a reference which is used to access the memory in the heap. So used to access the data in the heap memory. So we are also using stack to store the reference objects. Okay. So in stack you use push pop operation. Whenever new method comes, you push method, and whenever that method is complete, you pop that out, okay. So the stack grows and shrinks as functions push and pop local variables. Yes, so once the function is over, you kind of pop it out, and when you need a new function and new variables, you add into it, okay. And there is no need to manage memory yourself. Variables are allocated in FRID automatically. Yes, because you need not do that manually. The stack does that for it by itself. So stack variables only exist while the function that created them is running. Yes. So once this method 3 is over, this is automatically being popped off. It's not going to stay all the while till the program is complete. Once its task is over, it's get popped off, and then similarly method 2, similarly method 1. Okay, that's what they're saying. And then it's heap memory. So heap memory is actually used by the Java runtime machine to allocate memory for objects. Okay. So stack we actually use to allocate memory for the objects. Stack we actually use to allocate memory for the local variables and methods, and heap we actually use it for allocating memory for the object. So whenever we create an object, it's always created in the heap space, yeah. So unlike the stack, there is no enforced pattern to allocation and deallocation of blocks from the heap. You can allocate a block at any time and free it at any time. Yes, because in stack you have to follow the last in first out, that policy. You can't pop method 2 without popping method 3. That is not possible. It has to follow an order. So heap, it's not that case. You can create memory. The memory is being created randomly. Let's imagine, heap has a huge bubble, and it's not the small chunk of memory is not being created here. It's being created here and there. They are not following any sort of pattern. So that's what that means. So any object in the heap space has global access and can be referenced from anywhere in the program. Yes. So see, this method, int c is accessible only by method 2. Method 1 or method 3 cannot access this integer variable. But whenever we create a space in heap memory, the entire program can actually access the data. Okay, that's what this means. So yeah, so that's about the stack and heap memory. So hope you guys understood the difference. So, and thanks for watching.